Viewers on YouTube as well. Spring preview here as we build our way towards the April 20th spring football game. Let's thank our sponsors here one more time if we may for the Gary Goff Show. Those sponsors include the Animal Hospital of Tiffin, CM Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office, the Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, State Farm Insurance, Ed Lape's office, Steyer Seeds, and Tiffin Ace Hardware. Well, Coach, before we went to the break, we talked about some of the new coaches you have in, and this is their first time working with the kids in spring football. And let's talk about it position by position now. Let's get started with your quarterback. You have Dan Pitts, who played some really good football for you at the end of the season last year, but it'd be nice to have him back. But you got some other kids that you brought here to play quarterback too, so how are they looking so far in the spring?
They're doing good. You know, we got Nick Merrick, who's going to be a redshirt freshman for us. We signed him a year ago from Claymont High out of the Canton area, Dover area. And, you know, he's got all the tools. You know, Nick's 6'4", 230. He's got a very strong arm. And you know, he's learning the offense for the first time. You know, and then we got Tyler Irwin, who is from Bucyrus. Also, he's going to be a sophomore. We didn't redshirt him last year. He played a little bit here and there, so he's got a little bit of advantage right now. He knows the offense probably a little bit better than the other two. Okay. And then we got Joey Friendo, who's coming in at mid-year. He's our junior college transfer. And those three guys, I tell you what, are every day it's a battle. And we keep their stats on every throw they make, and every incompletion or completion or touchdown or pick. And you know, we got a three-way battle right there and a very heated competition.
How is it for quarterbacks right now when there's not one guy who's stepping in knowing that the job's his? I mean, does that competition that breeds a positive for your kids?
It does. I'll tell you what it does for us, and because we chart everything, we post it, you know, for not only them to see, but the entire team to see, is it kind of drives home the point that, you know, they can't make a mistake. If they make a mistake, it hurts the team. And the quarterback, you know, let's face it, you go to every level of football. If the quarterback's playing well, the team's playing well. If the quarterback's playing really bad, the team's playing really bad.
Yeah, we've all seen it.
Yeah, so, you know, I think these three, you know, obviously it's a pretty heated competition right now. They don't give each other, you know, 1 inch. As far as one guy makes a mistake, the next guy gets in there and makes sure he does not make that same mistake. But you know, it's good. It's good that we're throwing a lot of pressure at them. You know, we're having the defense throw a lot of blitzes at them because we want to see what they can do under pressure. And every kid, every quarterback responds differently under pressure.
Well, another thing, the quarterback not only needs to be able to make the throws, make the plays, read the defense, know the offense, needs to be a leader too. And those kids are ready to step into that role?
That's the biggest thing right there. They got to be a leader. You know, I think so. I think all three of them are starting to understand, wow, you know, coach is telling me I've got to be the most vocal guy out there. I got to be the most encouraging guy out there. And if we're having a bad day, I got to be the guy that steps in and says, hey, man, let's pick this up right now. Stop wasting a rep. You know, I think they're slowly getting that. But, you know, three guys that are learning the offense for the first time, sometimes it's hard to do. Because they're out there thinking about the play that I just sent in, not necessarily, okay, the defense is giving me this, I should take that. And that's where I got to get them to making those decisions. And I tell them all the time, hey, you need to go out there and play football. Don't just run that play. You know?
Be a football player and be a team leader. Okay, those quarterbacks got to throw the ball to somebody. You got some guys coming back on your wide receiving core as well. And one of those names on there, I see Pedro Correa. He was also a return specialist for you last year.
Yeah, Pedro's done a really good job for us last season, and he had a great job in the offseason. He probably gained 15 pounds.
Really?
Well, he could have used it stronger. He could have. Most receivers can.
Yeah, most receivers can.
You know, but he is a hard worker, very determined young man. Is going to compete his tail off. And you know, right now, if we had to play a game tomorrow, he'd probably be that starting Z right now.
Okay.
I mean, he's worked that hard. Now we got Marcus Burham right there too. We moved from slot receiver to a wideout position. Who was very talented. But you know, Pedro does everything right, and it's the little things. You know, and one thing's hard for the receivers sometimes, especially in this offense, is, hey, son, you got to block. You know, if you're not going to do everything, we're going to find somebody else. Well, Pedro's doing everything. And Marcus is realizing that, and it's making Marcus step his game up, which is good. Competition breeds success.
You know? If you're not going to go out there and block somebody when the ball gets handed off, you better not say anything to anybody that misses their block.
No question. I say that all the time to these guys. You know, those running backs, you know, we want those guys that be a 1,000-yard rusher and then have another 500 yards receiving out of the backfield. But you know what? They do a lot of work for those receivers and quarterbacks. And every great run, there's a great block downfield by a receiver. So, you know, we're trying to get those receivers to mature in that area a little bit. But, you know, that's not the only ballot receiver we got. We got a Tony Shedd, who is a redshirt freshman for us. We signed a year ago out of South Bend. He was very highly recruited. Grand Valley offered him, wanted him very badly.
Okay.
We kind of stole him right there because he said, "Coach, I want to come play in the offense. We're going to throw the football."
Well, that's going to happen in the air raid.
And we redshirted him last year, and I tell you what, he's got it.
Okay,
He's
good.
got it.
Awesome.
He's very green. He's raw, but you know what? He's got that attitude. He's got that chip on his shoulder where you're not going to cover me, and when I catch the ball, I'm going to score or I'm going to find a way. He's got that. That's something, you know.
Receivers need that little something. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at. And we'll use professional football as an example. Who's the most cocky football players on the field in professional football? It's the wide receivers.
Without a
so
doubt.
I mean, in order to be a good or a great wide receiver, you have to have a little bit of that cockiness, but more so a whole lot of that confidence.
Yeah, well, no question. Tony's going to be he's going to be a great player around here. Now, I can't necessarily tell him that because he's really raw, and we got to get him to work hard, and we'll make sure that's done. But he's got all the tools, and he's fun to coach and watch play right now. And he's over there at our split end position, battling out with Bertram Marks, who has played for us a good bit the last 2 years. Bert is a very talented young man that hey. Again, there's an area right there with a lot of competition, and you see him. One guy makes a big play, you can look over there and see the other guy kind of looking over his shoulder, like, "Okay, what's my turn? I need to get in there right now, coach."
Yeah, absolutely. You got another wide receiver spot too. You usually go with a 3 wideout set. There's still some competition.
Yeah, we got Tyler Jones, who's played slot receiver for us in the last 2 years, more so last season. And then we moved Jacob Snyder, who's from the Toledo area, very good high school football player, played quarterback. We moved him out from safety position to slot receiver.
Okay.
And I tell you what, Jacob Snyder, he's got something special about him too. He's a smart guy because he played quarterback. He can read the defense. He's got great hands. And in our scrimmage Saturday, it was our first scrimmage. He had some really nice catches and some yards after the catch. So he's going to be a great addition to that receiver group. And then again, we got a transfer coming in that's very, very talented, and we signed 3 receivers that are going to add to the mix, this in fall.
Excellent. And let's talk about the running back position. Jeremy Ortiz, he did a lot of good things for you in the fall, and I see you smile a little bit when I bring you up.
Ortiz, you got to love him. He's another hard worker.
Yeah, he was fun when he came on our program with us in the fall too.
Yeah, he's another young man that I think he's got a 3.5 GPA. He's one of the strongest guys in the weight room.
He's got tree trunk legs.
He's a pleasure to coach because hey, yes sir, I got it, coach. You don't have to tell him more than once. But really at that running back position right now, James Hall had the knee injury last year, so he's missing spring. We got Dominic White, who is just part-time right now, so he can't practice with us. That way he can play his senior year. He's obviously the transfer from Eastern Michigan. So at that position, we're going to be loaded come fall time, but right now we're not. And that's actually been a good thing for us in the spring because it's allowed Patrick Boggs to get into the mix. Patrick Boggs was a freshman for us last year, got in on some special teams, that's about it. But he's carried the ball a lot here in the spring. Patrick probably weighs about 230 and is a very, very physical young man. If you remember the running back that Notre Dame had, Powell.
Yeah,
kid,
okay.
Patrick Boggs is a lot like him.
All right, and Powell, he was one of the leading
strong
rushers in the league last year.
That was a very talented young man. But Patrick runs like that. He's just a big physical guy, kind of a Tom Rathman type runner.
Oh yeah, guy nobody likes to tackle.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. So very excited about the running backs. I'll even add this. James Hall is with that injury is kind of sat back there and helped coach a little bit. And you'll see he helps Coach Noogie as far as hey, I'm going to tell this guy splits are wrong, and it's made it easier for Coach Noogie back there to keep an eye on both backs.
And it's great to see somebody who's coming off an injury like that still wanting to be as close to the action as they can without being able to play.
Oh, James hasn't missed not one thing. He's been at every early morning work. He shows up to everything just like the team, and he's supposed to. Just because you're injured doesn't mean that you get to take a day off. But James wants to be a football coach, and I think he's using this time as learning a lot of the game.
He's the one that has the family connection in Columbus, right?
He does. His father's an assistant AD out in New Mexico State.
That's right. Okay, I knew there was a connection around there somewhere.
James will graduate. He'll graduate this May,
Excellent.
and then he'll play his senior year being in grad school.
That's fantastic.